What is one of your favorite features that is in one of your properties?
Um, that's a tough one. I've researched on all of it, and a lot of it is very close to my heart. But if I had to isolate one, I would say the plunge pool that we have in the apartment.
There's a pool inside of the
Yes, we
apartment?
have a pool in the apartment, and even in
Wow.
one-bedroom apartments, we
Wow.
have our own. You can have your own private pool within the apartment in the terrace. So it enhances your balcony. So balcony is an isolated space outside of your house, and if you have a pool over there, you can have a nice time. You can enjoy that, and I have a very strong feeling that it will have a very positive impact on short-term rental market, because having a
100%.
pool in your apartment is a feature.
On this episode of GN Talks, we are exploring the future of real estate in Dubai with Mr. Khyzer Altaf, the president of Tasmeer Indigo Properties. With over 15 years, Tasmeer Indigo Properties is known for its commitment to premium design and lifestyle-driven living, all while being Shariah-compliant and debt-free. Recently, the company hosted a panel discussion at Mondwar in downtown Dubai, where Mr. Khyzer and industry experts examined the current state and future trends of the Dubai real estate market. Stay with us as we delve into key insights from this event and discuss what's next for Dubai's evolving real estate landscape. Mr. Khyzer, how are you doing
I'm
today?
doing good. How are you?
We're so excited to have you today with us on the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being with us. So the first question that I'm sure will strike a lot of interest to the viewers that are watching us today, what predictions do you actually have for the real estate landscape in Dubai and specifically with the fair?
All right. So, in terms of Dubai real estate market, we've done a phenomenal job over here for the last 3 years. The market has done phenomenally well.
Okay.
Since 2021, it's been on an upward trajectory, and a year-on-year basis, it's been breaking its own record again and again. If you just look at last year, 2024, we had over 180,000 transactions, 36.5% growth,
Wow.
and the market was doing phenomenally well. And the trend is continuing in 2025 as well. So I feel that the market is going to do well. There is going to be sustained growth. Nothing is always up and up. So there is going to be some time when, there's going to be a flat line. There's going to be a correction. Nobody can deny that. But having said that, I think we're heading into a very safe zone where there's going to be sustained growth, intelligent growth, and we're going to have a good ride ahead.
Amazing. And what are some of the exciting new trends that are coming up in the real estate industry?
A home in today's day and age, it has to be very tech savvy, and it has to be integrated with all the technology surrounding it. So the home has to be smart. Then I think a very important trend that's coming up is short-term rentals. So, Airbnb is a reality. That is something that everybody, be it a homeowner or be it an investor, is looking forward to, because even if you have a house of yourself, at some point in time, if you want to vacate it and you want to use it as an investment, you would want to increase your yields with the likes of Airbnb and Booking.coms. And in doing so, every house has to be Airbnb compliant or short-term rental compliant. So the spaces have to be optimized and all the works around it need to be there. That's extremely important. Then I feel that the home, the building of today, it has to have that cultural diversity in it.
100%.
It has to have that depth in terms of culture, in terms of art. It just cannot be a simple plain building. It has to resonate to different demographics, different school of thoughts, etc., etc. So you need to make sure that you're compliant to all of those angles while developing a building. And then the most important thing that you should be looking for is the lifestyle around that building. Today's building, it has to, or today's home, whatever development that you're doing, it has to have the complete works, the complete lifestyle around it. It cannot just be an apartment on its own, isolated. It has to have all the surrounding lifestyle around it, which means you've got to have all the amenities around it. You've got to have the swimming pools, the aerobics, the yogas, the gym, the co-working spaces, etc., etc. So depending on what demographics you're attracting towards or you're focusing towards, It's very important that you go through and have all the lifestyle amenities surrounding it.
Amazing. And I totally believe that it definitely caters to the UAE market here, especially that we have a lot of diversity, and all of the properties that you guys are
Absolutely.
doing is definitely tailoring exactly to the need of the market.
Absolutely.
So that's absolutely amazing. What's one misconception that people might have in regards to real estate?
The most surprising thing that I very, oftenly hear from people here and there is that Dubai is a very risky market in terms of real estate. I think what happened in 2008 is something that's stamped on people's mind, and we need to get past that. We're in 2025, so we need to evaluate things on its ground realities, on what's happening right now. Right now, the regulator is extremely strong. No development can take place without escrow accounts. The property ownership rules are very, very strict and binding in terms of development, in terms of crowdfunding, etc., etc. So all of that is in consumers' interest and protection. So that has given a very big level of stability to the market overall. So I think we should not be discounting that. Moreover, we're heading to huge numbers. I mean, we've done more than 700 billion dirhams worth of transactions in 2024. We're heading towards a trillion dirhams market in terms of transactions. That's not just happening in thin air. It's happening in reality, and there's a lot of money involved in this, and it's not speculative anymore. People are actually genuinely paying up for the plots, for their apartments, and then buying it. So there's no level of speculation in that. Third, we have a huge expansion of UAE economy overall. So it's not like it used to be before. The economy has expanded significantly. We have more segments that have kicked in. Trade has grown significantly. Travel has grown significantly. All the other segments have grown significantly, and their positive contribution to the economy. And the non-oil economy reliance has significantly improved. So all these metrics make the market extremely stable, and I see the market being very stable. And I completely disagree with this notion of market being risky at all. So we're in a very stable market. Yes, as I mentioned earlier, it's not going to be grow, grow, grow all the time. There will be a point in time when there'll be correction, but it does not mean that it's going to crash. It's relatively very, very stable these days.
Amazing. In what ways is Tasmeer Indigo integrating sustainability and smart technology into its developments?
So JVC is a green area. First of all, it's surrounded with a lot of parks and nurseries, and then the individual building also has to be green LED certified as well. So we're in that same paradigm. We're a green LED certified building. We have a green consultant who is ensuring that all the elements required by the regulators are completely fulfilled. Just to name you a few things that are part of that program is there has to be 30% natural airflow in the building. You need to have certain allocated parkings for EVs. So we're doing all of that. And then we have a lot of green spaces within the building. So we have the Zen garden and the green outdoor spaces within the building, just to give you that feel of
You're outside.
natural. Yeah, exactly. Really
Amazing.
important.
I think this will tailor amazing to the Europeans, to the people that live, they're looking for greenery. So you guys are creating that green space for them.
Absolutely. It's really, really important. And, it makes you feel healthier, and it makes you feel more lively.
Yeah.
And then again, the community concept that we're developing, it's a big part of it. That's where you can, have a community outlook towards it.
Okay, a question I would like to ask you. So you chose 2 properties to be in the JVC. Why is that?
So JVC last year was one of the highest traded areas in UAE, in Dubai. The number of residents has significantly increased. There's more than 70,000 residents within JVC now. When you're out there in JVC, I mean, I've taken a lot of walks before designing the building. I would just walk outside on the pavements and see what the community is like. You get that very homely vibe in JVC. You go to the marinas or the JBR or the JLTs, they're very tourist kind of spaces. But if you go to JVC, you feel like a neighborhood where you would want to live and raise family over there.
Yeah, correct.
So that really, really had that emotional connect with me. And that's why we chose JVC, because, I ultimately want to create homes that people can resonate with, which have the depth and the emotions attached to it. And, these buildings that we're creating these days, You have buildings in Europe and US that survive centuries. You have a 100-year-old building in Europe and in US. And I feel the level of infrastructure and the level of construction that's being done over here, these buildings are also built to survive decades. And we are looking in a very futuristic way. So when I'm working on the design and what elements we need to plug into the building, we are considering how the market is going to behave 10 years from now, 20 years from now. What is going to be the requirement? Because we're making the building today and it's going to be delivered in 4 years, 5 years, right?
Okay.
So the market trends are obviously going to be different. The perception and the way people behave is going to be different. And then they're going to be using for decades after that. So we need to be very futuristic in our thought process to be able to ensure that it caters for decades to come, not years to come, but decades to come. And that is something that we put a lot of thought towards while we're designing. So coming back to why JVC, it has that homely vibe to it. There's tremendous demand for it. And the infrastructure that's surrounded within the area, the parks, nurseries, and then RTA, investing more than 7 billion dirhams just to create, roads and infrastructures for in and out through JVC. All of this creates a lot of promise into the area. And lastly, I feel that it's very, very centrally located. It's like, just 4 exits away from downtown.
Correct.
It's 1 exit away from Dubai Hills. So it's right in the center of where it all is happening. So if you're living in JVC, you need to go to the airport, you're like 20, 25 minutes away. You need to go to downtown, you're like 15, 18 minutes away.
Correct.
So it's very centrally located, right on Al Khair. So I feel that it's a very, very, very good location.
Is it a question? Because in JVC, we see a lot of low-rise towers. Is it a low-rise or a high tower?
So the first project that we have, Square X Residence, that's a ground plus 10 building.
Okay.
So it's 10 floors, and we've taken an exception for 2 extra floors because we wanted to create the amenities in the first floor. So it's a ground plus 12, the first building that we have. And the other one is ground plus 19.
19th floor.
Yes.
Okay. That's, I'm sure, because so many people, when they go to JVC, from the response that I get, most people want something that does not look like the rest of Dubai. Most of Dubai has high-rise towers. So for a building to also have like 10 to 19, that's relatively, I would say, kind of like in the middle.
It's like a mid-rise.
It's a mid-rise,
You can't
yes.
say it as a high-rise because high-rise would typically be somewhere north of 25 to 30 stories.
Agree.
And with the urbanization that's happening and the population expansion that's happening, you can't accommodate everybody without the mid-rise and the high-rise. So those are part of our lifestyle. But within that, what COVID has taught us that humans do need those outdoor spaces, right? And during COVID, we realized that a lot of people, when they were confined to within their apartments, it was very difficult for them to pass through that period. Whereas people living in townhouses or villas had a relatively better
More
experience,
relaxed,
right?
yeah.
Now, the new buildings post-COVID, they have to have those outdoor spaces within the building. So at least the users or the homeowners within that space have some area
to
where
breathe.
they can enjoy within their building.
Yes.
And that's a very, very important element that every development needs to focus on.
Totally agree on this note. What is one of your favorite features that is in one of your properties?
That's a tough one. I've researched on all of it, and a lot of it is very close to my heart. But if I had to isolate one, I would say the plunge pool that we have in the apartment.
There's a pool inside of the apartment?
We have a pool in the apartment. And
Wow.
even in 1-bedroom apartments,
Wow.
we have our own, you can have your own private pool within the apartment in the terrace. So, it enhances your balcony. So, balcony is an isolated space outside of your house. And if you have a pool over there, you can have a nice time. You can enjoy that. And I have a very strong feeling that it will have a very positive impact on short-term rental market. Because
100%.
having a pool in your apartment is a
Yeah.
feature. If you list a property that has its own pool, you have a bigger pool downstairs, that's there for you as well, but you have a plunge pool
Private.
within your apartment and you're listing that on Airbnb, I think your utilization is going to be extremely high, and you'll be able to fetch some extra pennies as well on it.
And as just a thought that it's only a one bedroom, because usually, you know, these pools come like it's a 3-4
Yeah, they're
bedroom
coming in bigger
apartment.
apartments. You need to have a penthouse or a three
Yeah.
bed but we've put that in a 1 bedroom apartment as well.
And which property is that located specifically?
That's Square X Residence in JVC in District 10.
Okay, amazing. And every floor has its own private pool?
So there is about 60 to 70 apartments that have their own pools.
60 to 70?
Yes. So we have a total of 170 apartments in the building. And out of that, about 70 apartments have pool inside them.
Amazing. So for these properties, they can either rent them or buy them.
Use them. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're selling them. We're almost sold out. I don't think we have any apartments with pools available in our inventory at the moment.
Oh,
they're all sold out. Yeah.
Oh, no
we
way.
Don't have
Because
any of those
honestly, I was
available.
interested. What a shame. But I wanted to ask you, like, what's an approximate rental, let's say, yearly payment is it going to be on a yearly basis for such a project?
For such an apartment, especially with a pool,
Yeah.
I think 100,000 dirhams
Per
on
year.
a long term is
Okay.
something that you can consider getting.
Okay.
But see, the thing is that this is very subjective. At this point in time, it seems that this might be the right appropriate number, but you don't know where the market's going to be. This product is going to be delivered in 2027 first quarter.
Okay.
So where the economic situation is, where the market is, it all depends on that. But the way things are going and the way trend is, if it continues to be that same way, I think 100,000 would be quite a comfortable reach at that point in time. Plus, if you get Airbnb on this, you're looking at an upside of at least 40 to 50% on this. So you'd be looking at somewhere north of 140, 150,000 dirhams on a property like this.
And we're talking about the current rates now. So we cannot promise that the rates will stay the same, let's say next year or the year after.
You don't know. I mean,
until the launch.
The way market is moving, I don't see these rates to stay where they are. I have already seen 2 rounds of appreciation within my apartments in the last 4 months.
There's there's one misconception. We did tackle the questions about misconception, but as an end user, some people say, yes, the market rate is going up, but somewhere down the line, it's going to go back down again. Is this rumor correct? Or is it just something that we tell ourselves whenever we want to buy something to keep it on hold for the future?
Nobody can say that the market would not come down. Okay.
Okay.
So you need to understand what do you exactly mean by market coming down. There is a correction, and then there is a healthy correction, and then there is a crash. So these are different things.
Okay.
If we're talking about a crash, I don't see that happening. A crash can possibly happen on a macroeconomic factor, which is beyond our control, right? So, if there's a lot of things going on in the world and any macroeconomic indicator kicks in and, there's a crash in the market, nobody can do anything about it. But the way things are going, I don't see a correction in near term as well. But if there is a correction, I think it will be followed by new wave of buyers coming in, because there is a lot of buyers out there who've actually missed the boat, have missed the chance to be able to own a property. And they've been tracing it for a while, but they've seen the prices increase, and they've not been able to, buy it. So once there is a correction, I see a new wave of buyers coming in. People who have not been able to buy in the last round would come in and jump and give that buffer to the market.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but what I know is that the rates fluctuate depending on the season. So most investors, do they plan to invest in summertime when the rates are a little bit lower?
So typically, I don't think the rates fall in summer.
Okay.
Especially not for off-plan.
Okay.
But summers are generally a low period, and that is across all industries. I have other businesses here in UAE. I have a mobility business. I have car rental business over here. Our utilizations are extremely low during the months of summer. So that is something that we've grown into. We've been looking at the trend for the last decade and a half. So where our DNA is built into it, and this is part of our cost. So we understand that these 2 months are going to be low, and this is going to be that it's our cost now. So we're comfortable with it. Regarding the real estate and sale of a real estate, the prices don't fluctuate in summers. The prices don't reduce. So if I'm selling an apartment, it's not like I'm going to be reducing the prices in June or July. The
Okay.
apartment prices are going to stay similar. You do see a trend in ready properties at times wherein they slightly give you a better proposition on rentals, especially because you don't see a lot of fluctuations in rental contracts during that period. So some homeowners might consider reducing the prices down because they want to optimize their utilization. So on that segment, maybe a little bit, but in terms of apartment pricing or property pricing, I don't see summers are a factor to reduce prices. Apartment prices are more driven by economic factors that are surrounding the economy. So positive or negative, whatever it is, during summers and winters, it does not really matter. What matters is the economic indicators around, and that is what really shapes the price of the product.
Thank you so much today, Mr. Khyzer. It was actually an absolute pleasure for me to meet you in person.
Pleasure's all mine. Thank you so much.
Shout out to anyone who's watching us right now. If you're looking to rent or if you're looking to invest, Tasmeer Indigo Properties is the place to be. Is there one last word you would want to say with our audience before we tell them goodbye?
Invest in Dubai before you miss this ride.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And for everyone who's watching, stay tuned to an upcoming episode of #GN Talks, tailored to luxury and well-established businesses in the UAE and the globe.